But I'll bring in the idea of a drug addict as well into this, and their idea to, or their attribution of meaning to, let's say, what they're doing in the moment of taking a drug, right? There's meaning in, okay, I take this substance and it makes me feel a certain way for a short period of time. And so there's that subjective meaning, intrinsic meaning in this drug provides me this relief, or it provides me a state of a temporary state of mind where I don't have to think about other problems or other things. But if you go into any recovery program, the fundamental and foundational principle is to find a power greater than yourself. And
Yeah.
by doing so, you're attributing meaning to it. And that is a cosmic meaning. That isn't that's something that goes beyond and transcends the meaning of the simple meaning that that drug provides you. So that, to me, that's also a great example of completely refuting the nihilistic point of view and saying that there's no cosmic or objective meaning outside of the small meanings that you find day to day in what you're doing. The solution, the remedy, the medicine to that is finding that cosmic meaning, and focusing on it, putting your attention and your, applying your consciousness to that, rather than whatever minuscule thing that you're doing that's providing that temporary relief to suffering.
Yeah, I think on the point of drugs too, it's definitely temporary and everybody knows that, but the danger there is that it can feel like cosmic meaning. It can go beyond just, you
Mhm.
know, and some people, may not be aware of that. Um, and I wouldn't recommend uh trying to figure it out. But for the people who often get addicted to drugs is because it is a level of experience that imparts a meaning that's often greater than anything they'd known before. And so, and I think that is also recognized in rehab programs. And I think this brings out another interesting uh, depth and twist to the meaning story, because the drugs in many cases tend to give a large increase of meaning plus euphoria. So
Mhm.
it's like good feelings and meaning. And then the part of the reason why it can be so hard to get off drugs is because the reality that you have to live out is meaning plus a lot of not good feelings. Like the world that we're invited to live in is not one of infinite meaning and infinite euphoria. It's, yes, infinite meaning, but a really hard time figuring that out and sticking to it and going through all the pains of physical life and relationships and death and all that sort of stuff. So you actually have to find a meaning that, provides deeper meaning than the intense meaning that drugs can provide, and goes so deep and so intense and is so um, supportive and foundational and something to bet on, that it can convince you to live a hard and difficult life in a often bleak world.
Right.
And that's an intense depth of meaning that you actually need. And I think that ties into the Christian doctrine as well, fairly straightforwardly.
All right, there's the rub on that, where, if you take a specific substance or a certain substance and you get that instant gratification, that euphoric meaning that you didn't have to work for, that is just given to you from an external substance, as opposed to relinquishing that and having to do the work of letting the meaning kind of unfold before you as as you are presenting your true authentic self. That is a much harder thing to do. Of course, that's much more sustainable and
Yeah, yeah, the temporariness is a
challenge.
big kick.
Right. So I think that, and that's an interesting concept too, is because both are meaning, right? The individual is
Yeah.
experiencing a quick euphoric instant feeling of meaning with the drug as long as they're consistently doing it. But as soon as that is given up and there's that emptiness of, okay, now there's no meaning because I don't have that, it takes a while to then develop what we could call meaning in a truer, deeper sense through building those relationships, identifying with the higher power, and kind of bearing through the sufferings of life and finding
Fortitude.
fortitude. That's I love that word, fortitude, and finding that meaning in the crooks and crannies, rather than just letting it blanket over you in a quick euphoric pull. And so, yeah, that's a really good point too, because I think that's what keeps people attached to substances and to certain things, is that quick euphoric rush. But then deep down, man, deep down, there's always that, like, let's say you eat that ice cream, man. Like, I love the Bluebell ice cream. And going into it, man, in my mind, I'm just like, this is gonna be the greatest experience. I'm just gonna eat this, and as soon as it hits your lips, so good. But then once it's gone and you're looking at an empty container, you just feel empty. You feel like, man, I just did that, and now, I'm gonna gain an extra 5 pounds, and here I did it again. I ate this ice cream. I told myself I wouldn't do it, just for that instant meaning of, oh, that cold ice cream hit my lips. It's never satisfactory. It's never fully fulfilling. And I think that things like that is exactly how sin comes into life, right? Is through the promise and the allure of, oh, you're gonna feel this way, things are gonna be so good. Here's the meaning of things, you're gonna feel this and it's gonna be great. But then it's just so fleeting, and then you're left empty afterwards. But you don't have that perspective or sense of emptiness in, let's say, a relationship or or a belief system, because that's not fleeting. That's not something that just dwindles away after 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It's
Yeah,
something,
if you're doing it right, it grows.
right? If you're doing it right, it grows. Exactly. So that's an interesting point. I love ice cream, but I'm not going to eat it.